Welcome to the Smart Connector podcast. I have such a great guest for you tonight. It's Niro Knox. Welcome, Niro.
Hi, nice to be here.
So, Niro is a cold email marketer. In fact, he's an expert on all aspects of cold outreach, cold marketing, and he's also a technical genius and an AI expert and somebody who has an incredible background in marketing technology. And so we are going to get into this really fascinating topic today and talk about how cold audiences are really important if you want your business to grow. And that's any kind of business. So whether you have a B2C business or a consumer facing business, cold audiences matter if growth is your goal. Isn't that right, Niro?
That's correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. But also, Niro, there's a lot more to you than your technical expertise and your marketing expertise because you're also a musician, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't usually choose that word, but I would say rocker, maybe.
A rocker, yeah.
I think it clears it up further.
Yes.
Musician sounds like I went to Berkeley,
Yeah, okay. So if you want to see Nero's music, it's all over YouTube, Spotify. He's a rocker. Yeah, he really is. Yeah. Okay. So Nero, first of all, tell us a little bit about you. How did you come to be an expert in this area?
I think, like most of things, this one came out of necessity. I think it was 20, I would say 2012 or something like that, when I had my first successful business, became successful after, but it was my second business at the time, where I was struggling. I had a great product. I had a fantastic product. So, such a great product that it was a proof that it doesn't matter how great your product is, you're not going to be able to eat if you don't have people that you get to. So I went to so many freelancers and companies, and I spent a lot of money, every penny I had, on people who were promising me the stars and the moon. And I just kind of learned that if a lot of I'm a very technical person. I always have been. I'm technical in my thinking, and a lot of the stuff that was presented to me didn't make sense. People were talking in codes, a bit of facade, inviting me to an expensive boardroom in King's Cross, where writing up a proposal for 11 grand a month, and not really outlining to me how how they're actually going to get to people. And I gave people the benefit of the doubt. I did actually spend money, and I figured, okay, maybe they just don't want to expose their formula to me. Fair enough. Maybe they see that I'm a smart guy. I'll pick it up. But honestly, everyone let me down. That's when I realized why reports are so important to those people. The fancier the reports were, the worse the news was. And I kind of I adopted my own little motto that I always say, that I say to my staff as well: reports are just a weekly excuse of why we're not there yet. And I love data, and I love analysis, and analysis is different. And that's how I call it. If you're looking at a campaign and you want to see the open rate, or that's analysis. That's analyzing things. That's really what it is. All this reporting, when someone is doing well, they don't have to report to anyone. They don't have to explain anything unless they're brainstorming, or, I can go on about it. But yeah, so it was at that time where I said, I'm going to take matters to my own hands, because no one has managed to do it. And when you think about it, it's quite simple. as overwhelming and as clueless as overwhelming as it was, and as clueless as I was, I still knew that in the end of the day, it's simple. I had a company that my product was an Instagram growth algorithm that I developed that at the time worked really well. Algorithms change, but those years it was great, and it was just the right time in the market as well. And I figured, okay, my clients are people who want to be big on Instagram, and at the time, today it's out of control, but at the time it was, a lot of, I would use the word wannabe, a lot of wannabe models, and I was like, might sound horrible, but as a businessman, I'm thinking that's my low-hanging tree. That's the easy prey. These people, they want endorphins. They want, even if it's not a business for them, they will invest. So I figured this is perfect. And like you said, I was in the music world for a long time, so I know how it is to buy a guitar for £5,000, drive a car that's worth £500, to drive 500 miles for a gig to make 50 quid. I know that when something is important to people, they will spend the time, the money. So I just started approaching people on Facebook and on Instagram manually, and I was just being myself, because I don't have any of that. I think I was lucky. I wasn't infected, if I'll use that word, with any of the hello first name template and all that stuff. And I was just being me, the way I am with you right now. I would talk to a model and say, hey, what's up? Listen, I saw your account. Amazing. Do you want to grow it? And being the technical fella that I am, I might not look visually like that, but I studied at the Technion, which is like the Israeli MIT. So, I'm very technical, and everything I do that works, I like a knee-jerk reaction. I'm like, how can I automate this? How can I scale this? And it's not just because of the necessity. It is exciting to build automatic systems. It's just such a great feeling, and everything works. It's magic. I really see it as magic. Yeah. Even to a technical person like me, that everything can be explained, I still feel the magic when I do those things. So I started doing that. And that was an interesting journey, because I had to go deep into a lot of challenges on the way. You ask anyone that's viewing this, you can't just take a list of 10,000 people, whack them on some program and hit send. That's not going to work. That never worked. It used to work, I think 20 years ago, it used to work. Spam email used to have, that's an interesting fact, it used to have 8% success rate. I'm talking about Nigerian prince.
Yeah, I remember
getting money from someone. All that stuff used to work. 8%, that is a lot. I'm talking conversion. And I didn't make this up, and that we're nowhere near that. We're not even at 8% open rate these days. And in the last 3 years, the market became, well, not the market, this game has become much harder with the introduction of machine learning, AI, and people who do not possess deep understanding and background of MX servers, how they work, the appliances that are on them, all the anti-spoofing, all the techniques that they're using on their end. You have to be one of those guys to be on this end and win. Takes a criminal to catch a criminal. Same, I genuinely believe that the only reason I might have an advantage over the other guys on the other side is that, especially working for companies like Google, Microsoft, these are not small-time companies. To be a systems engineer in those conglomerates, I mean, this is an assumption right now. I'm not setting facts, but I am assuming that it's a personality thing. You have to go that route your whole life to go and be a corporate. So I'm saying that because I didn't, and I think being somewhat of a pirate gives me an advantage. I'm used to operate outside of the box. I'm used to think outside of the box. I'm originally from Israel. I think that's also a mentality thing, because when I moved to England 19 years ago, dramatically, the number of times I would hear from people, "Oh, you can't do that. Oh, that can't be done," dramatically increased. I'm not from this world. I'm really not. I'm from a world where, oh, that's interesting. How can we get this done? That's more of an interesting conversation to me than let's open the big book and say what are we allowed to do. Within reason, of course, providing we don't hurt anybody, yeah. Sorry, I've been monologuing.
No, I mean, look, it's fascinating. And I should say that Niro and I are working on some cold email stuff together, and it has really opened my eyes. It's just been incredible. And I realize how much of an art and a skill set it is. It's both, really, isn't it?
Yes, I often find that, one of the reasons why I wanted to build a course is because there's so many people I can't get to, there's only a certain amount of time I can dispose. And most people who would probably be starting out and would enjoy this the most are not in a financial position to hire me. I was just in a situation where I had the talent, the skill. I had the background to be able to pick this up with my own hands and learn it and know what I'm doing and what kind of things I want to test, and then what kind of things I can learn from these tests, where most people are not going to understand, and they shouldn't, right? They should be worried about their own business and stuff like that. So when these worlds come together is when you really understand the business, and then you can come up with a creative idea. If you don't know what's possible, no matter how creative you are, you're not going to have the selection, to build something from. So that is something I'm trying to give my clients and empower them. And at the same time, they have to empower me. I have to get into the business, like to the model, and I really have to understand it. We're not selling like a fast 20-pound product here online. It's like, it's not that kind of a game. And also you said something in the beginning about cold reach is an incredible way. A lot of people are, cold reach, it doesn't sound that positive, especially.
Well, they think it's spam, don't they? Of course, that there is spam is cold outreach, but cold outreach can be done really well. It's not necessarily spam at all, is it?
Well, it's almost no, and it's almost like a social thing. I mean, okay, you think it's hard to get someone to respond to you an email? How about trying to walk up to someone on the street? I always say it's like hitting on people. It's like hitting on people. I say people because it's like guys hitting on girls, and it's like girls hitting on guys. So I just call it hitting on people, and it's true, right? And now you take the mentality aspect and the social, which are massive. The weight of those things when you're doing this is so important, right? I'm from a country where you just talk to people on the street. When I came here and I was trying to talk to someone on the tube, you can imagine what happened. Profanity, like get a hell out of here, you weirdo. People here want to, but they're not conditioned to it. So they go to the pub and they drink, and then they can talk to each other, right? I mean, this is how it is here.
Yeah.
There's a pub in every street, in every corner, in every suburb here. It's insane. So, and that's not criticism, thank God for that. So if you take all these things into account, absolutely, cold reach might sound scary. That's why I'm saying it's negative to people. But when you think about it, it will be the best way, because I don't want to sit around and wait. Even if you are working on a very clever inbound marketing, great. I mean, there are, I think, there's like 10 to 15% of the sectors that cold reach will not make any sense. Fine. It's an outbound game. It's an inbound game, not outbound. So you don't go to them, you wait for them to come to you. Yeah. If you are a locksmith in Hendon, in Northwest London, there is no point leaving leaflets in people's mailboxes, because when they're stuck outside of the house, the last thing they can do is get in and see your leaflet. That's the first thing. Even if they put it on the fridge and say, you know what, I'm going to bookmark this on my fridge in case I need this guy. We all know that when you're stuck outside, what people are going to do, they're going to go to their phone with the last 4% battery very quickly and go locksmith around me, or locksmith Hendon, or locksmith NW4 and whatnot. And then you got to make sure. So some businesses, if a locksmith comes to me and say, I want to do a campaign, Niro, I heard you're the best. I'll be like, I'm the best at what I do. I'm not the best in everything. And I might not even be the best at what I do, but you heard good things. I'm glad, but this is not for you. You need a Google expert, which is not something that I am actually.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't feel like I'm an expert on anything, to be honest. I'm just relaying. Well, people say that, but I'm constantly feeling that I'm learning.
Yeah, and I think
everything changes.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about marketing is that you've got all those experts out there trying to master all these different disciplines, like cold outreach and email marketing and SEO and all these various funnel building and everything, because they want to do all of those things. But the real experts, as I often say to my clients, they just generally tend to do one thing really well. And it's always been that way in marketing, because it is very hard to do things really well. But if you don't do things really well, then you're not going to get the results, because they're going to be people out there who do it really well and who have got the expertise. So, yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I pay someone on my staff to handle our email marketing, not cold reach, email marketing, newsletters.
Yeah, warm
Not
email.
my thing. I mean, I set up the infrastructure. I made sure all of our emails go to the inbox. That's my thing. But, she handles that stuff. I don't even decide on which coupon is going to go on and Black Friday and whatever. Don't do that anymore. Never was good at it. So absolutely, I appreciate that people have to know what their strength is, and people who choose who to work with don't try and bend it like the guy who says, Niro, come on, I paint houses, I'll give you loads of money, get me more clients. You gotta be found by the people who are currently looking for you.
Yeah.
But most businesses, it is worth approaching. People think that because you get even 95 people say no and 5 say yes, that's a great place to be at. Great place to be at. Even 1 out of 100. It really works like this in every thing. If how many things I tried that didn't work, So some people will focus on that. And you could say that Michael Jordan is the best basketball player of all times, scored most games in a game, but he also missed more shots in a game than anyone else. So is he the worst, or is he the best? He's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point. Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about it as well is that, the power of automation is incredible. And of course, when you're sending cold emails to people, really it's set and forget, isn't it? Obviously, you have to keep an eye on the data and the results, and you have to tweak. But essentially, you're leveraging technology to do all that hard work for you. And that is why it is so amazing, really, that, as you said, even if you get 1 in 100 responses, well, you're not sitting there sending out 100 emails a day, are you? You set it up in the right way in order for that one person to come to you.
Sure. Set and forget. I have got a love-hate relationship with that, because sure, I want to automate everything. But you see, the foundation of whatever automation you're about to build has to make sense.
Yep.
And assumptions are the worst thing. So if we're in a boardroom, I don't know, 4 people brainstorming, right? We should do this, we should do that. I'm like, nothing's wrong, because nothing is right. Even if something feels to all 4 of us, oh, this gotta be it. I'm like, listen, guys, we are brainstorming. If any one of us could predict one thing on this planet, it would have been amazing, but we can't. So yeah, of course that there is the low-hanging fruit, as I call it, things that are more likely to work. And we definitely factor in experience and all, but I say, take all the ideas, and there's one thing that's always going to show you the reality: data.
Yeah.
So meaning, okay, try this, try this, try this, try that. You tried 4 ideas. Now this doesn't lie. The problem with, and only then automate. Don't automate something that sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
And don't scale it.
Yeah.
So, lost my train of thought there. But anyway, it's really, the data is very, very important. Do things manually first. Prove the concept. Yeah, prove the justify. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Justify automating something. Don't just automate stuff. You got to justify it, and you got to give it the attention first. You really do. So when someone comes to me and say, Niro, I'm just starting out, please help me. I know you're really expensive, but I really believe in my product. I'm like, if you really believe in your product and you can't afford me yet, and you're not busy yet, you're not shipping, I don't know, or whatever, or like fully booked yet as you want to be, or whatever it is that you want to do, that means to me that you got a lot of time on your hands. So sit on your ass and write 75 emails a day to people. Why are you not doing that? Like, what do you think I used to do? And I would spend 45 minutes on the phone before the Zoom calls. I'm talking 2013. Like 45 minutes on the phone to sign someone up for $29 a month. That makes sense. Obviously, I wouldn't. But you know what? The first 100 that I signed up, I did it like that. And I learned so much from it. I learned what is the number one. After doing 100 of this, even 30, you can start to see the trends. What are people always asking? So when you do decide to automate, you say, you know what? We already got to tell them about this and this FAQs, because that's the stuff that people always ask about. And it seems to me like that's very important. Like, I didn't know that those years, but I learned from doing this that a lot of wannabe actors, TV presenters, even extras on TV needed a lot of followers, because nowadays when you go to a casting, they even ask for your social media. That they cast someone, they want someone with a lot of followers. Crazy, right? Even if they can't read the news properly, they'll take them because they got a lot of followers, whatever. So, all these things I learned, and that helped me focus on my audience. That helped me, if you focus on a certain audience, you can tailor your message, and so on and so on,
Yeah, that's amazing. Niro, we've got a couple of questions coming through. So Gary says, do you say anything about your services or product in the first email, or do you try and establish a foundation of trust first?
Hi, Gary. That's an awesome question. So I would, yes to the foundation of trust. I never called it like that because it's a little bit too, you don't even need trust, right? We're not even at that level. You need to see that the guy is not trying to, so I guess you could call it trust, but to call it trust on the first message is a tad dramatic. It's like going on a first date with someone and saying, do you trust me? Trust is earned. So, but yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to try and really answer the question, because I think I know what you're talking about. Yes, I try and avoid that. I will tell them, first of all, before I say that, there's also the legal aspect of it. When you're cold reaching, even if it's B2B in the UK, in the EU, and in UK, in EU, and America, totally legal, but it has to qualify as cold reach. Because if you're not cold reaching and you're email marketing to an unsolicited, that is illegal, because that's not cold reach. So to qualify for cold reach, you are allowed to check for interest. And of course, you're allowed to very generally tell them what it is that you do. So I'll give you an example, Gary, and that might, I hope that answers the question. So I will start with, hi, I hope it's okay to email you directly. I got your email from your Instagram page. Your email was there. Let them, and try and make that a question. So I hope it's cool to email you, and that might sound funky to you. And believe me, some of my clients are very, very formal and, expensive, and they don't want the word cool in an email. But find a way to say that, I hope it's okay for me to be emailing you like this, because what I want to is to shove the first question mark in the email as soon as possible, because this is the nature of people, right? When you talk, usually you want people to listen to you. But in this case, when they're reading what I'm saying, I want them to have the urge to say something back as soon as possible, because as soon as possible, they'll want to keep reading the email quickly so they can finish it and respond. Mm-hmm. So make sure it's not 16 paragraphs. And so already to put some sort of a buffer in their head when they're reading your email, and then go to the next phase would be like, I'm emailing you because I'm talking to a lot of practitioners at the time. I don't know, I'm just making this up. Maybe I sold dental clinics. I'm trying to sell them a new device, okay? I've invented this amazing device, grows all your teeth back, whatever, right? So say something a bit crazy about it, or the USP, but don't get too much salesy. And then you can even say something like, before I give you information you didn't ask for, that's, by the way, legally clearing you, really, like literally word by word. But you could say, like, before I know you with information you didn't ask for, or you can just say, I wanted to know if that's interesting to you. If it does, I would love to tell you something about it. Does that sound interesting? And end with the question. Just the whole thing should be a question, and forget about hello, Jonathan, hello. Well, because Jonathan could love being called John. Don't piss people off. Unless you know them personally, which you don't, just say hello, hi. There's nothing wrong with saying hello, hi. In fact, that's one of the best advice I ever got about hitting on people. The best pickup line is hello. Hello, my name's Niro. People say that. So, think about that, because it is the most uncomfortable thing. I like to imagine, usually when I write these things, that I'm in a convention center, and I don't have a lot of time, but I can probably talk to 50 people, and I have like 20 seconds with each, like, to get them to answer to me, to get them to respond, to say something. So, I hope that answers the question, Gary.
Yeah, thank you so much, Niro. Now, one of the things when we were working together that I think is a really important distinction that people do need to understand is that all these email systems that were set up for what's called warm email, in other words, nurture sequences, everything from like SendGrid, MailerLite, all of those, I don't know, there's so many of them, aren't there? You cannot do cold emails through them, can you? And perhaps you could just explain why, because I think it is important for people to understand.
Sure. I wouldn't say that you cannot, because if there's anyone out there that has my experience, they can say, well, actually you can, because everything is possible. So I wouldn't want to put myself in that place, but it's true that it's not recommended to do that. I don't know if to go into all the reasons, but first of all, it's not designed for that. So the longevity of what you're doing, and if you're building an infrastructure, you don't want to have to rebuild it in 3 months, and they might decide they want you out of their service because you're cold reaching. They specifically want you to use their service for opt-in audiences. Not that I care what they allow or not allow. If it works, I'll do it anyway, but it doesn't work that well. It has something to do with the reputation of their email servers are not that good, and the only reason where people are still getting good results with their infrastructure is because their audience is opt-in, meaning their mailboxes recognize the sender.
Mhm.
So that's why it works. But exactly for that, if you're going to be sending new recipients, you're going to sending messages to new recipients, I would advise not to go through those gateways. Also, these gateways are for high volumes, and I do not recommend doing cold reach with high volume. If you're getting, one person responding out of 1,000, fix that first. Don't just go and say, okay, so I need to send 1 million a day. No.
Yeah.
You're burning your reputation. You're missing out on a lot of good leads. Take you back to the convention scenario. If you go to a convention and talk to 100 people and people just turn away and walk away, I would say there's something wrong with you. You stepped on poop before you came in. Something's going around you that people don't want to talk to you. There is a failure. There is a technical problem. Most of the times, I can tell you, it never gets to their inbox. And that's something that's definitely fixable, but not easy, but it's doable.
Yeah, and that's some of the stuff that we've been looking at together, because what's the point in sending out a lot of emails if they don't arrive, right?
I'll tell you another thing, because I was talking about data. So I gotta tell you, like, I know I already said that, but there's so much facade. These email systems will show you all these reports up, and everything is going to have very nice icons, and it's going to look so credible because some UX guy worked on it or whatever. But it doesn't matter. So I'll give you an example, okay? This is something technical that a lot of people don't know. Open rate reports in the last 3 years have gone up. The open rates have gone down, but the reports are showing a lot. Why? Because these days, if you know about how the open rate works, you would totally understand why this is happening. You send an email to 100 people, I guarantee at least 60 or 70 are in mail providers that there is a component that opens your email for inspection to make sure it's not a spam, to make sure there's no virus in it. And while it does that, it will trigger the code that tracks the open rate, meaning you're going to get false positives. This goes the same for click tracking. And in fact, there's another free little advice here for people. Tracking the open rate will ironically reduce your open rate. Just by having a tracking code on your email, a lot of spam inspection softwares that are on mail providers today will recognize it as an email that came from a CRM and put it out, either in the promotion or spam or trash or whatnot.
Wow.
So, yeah. So and then we talked about data. So when you email 100 people and you get one response and 12 people opened your email, you don't know if 12 people got it to their inbox and 100% of them, all of the 12 decided to open it, which means your subject line is amazing. Or 100 people got it to the inbox and only 12 found it interesting. And by the way, it doesn't mean anything about the subject line. I was just giving you an example. It could be that the audience just doesn't align, is not aligned with your proposition. So there's so many things, so many possibilities. So when you're building a campaign, you want to have the knowledge, the power. You need to be empowered so you can have control over what's going on and make the right decisions. Because without that, go do something else.
Oh, yeah, totally. And as I said, it's been an absolute revelation and an eye-opener working with you, Niro, on this, because I realized that there are all these secrets, I would say, call them secrets, that most people would never, ever know about, that is impacting all of these things. I mean, fundamentally, who is actually reading your message? Is it actually getting through to the right person? Or is it not? And if you don't know all of these secrets, then you run the risk of it not working, really, fundamentally, isn't it?
Yes, I'm not a big fan of keeping these things secrets. I think people should be confident enough, and I see that
Yeah,
a lot all the time. They should be confident enough to teach, because
yeah,
if someone can just come and do what I do so easily, then I should find something better to do. I need to
mm,
push myself to the limit as well. So that gives
yes,
me the confidence to share all my secrets. They're not
yes,
secrets, but all of my revelations and the learnings that I've had with my clients. I think it's a good thing. You got to be a
yeah.
positive person in this place. And
Exactly, exactly. So, I mean, when I say secrets, I suppose really it's just not the kind of stuff that people talk about very much. So they just think that, yeah, that's it, really, isn't it?
they don't talk about it, but let me give you an example.
Mm.
Okay. And I'm sure some people might find what I'm saying a little bit nasty, but tough love. So it's not a secret that emails go to spam. Everybody knows that. But when you're not empowered, you know that you're not empowered. You know it. You know that you don't really know what you're doing, but you got this list and you just want to get on with it, and you just can't help yourself. And you load it up on MailChimp or some crap, and you just send it. Oh, I've done it. I've done something for my business today. You know it's BS. You know it's bollocks. You know that you have no idea if that went to the spam or not, on how to make sure. You haven't done anything. You might have read half an article diagonally. These are the kind of people that get to me. I'm relaying. This is the average person that come to me. It's after that, and no disrespect intended. Kudos to them for coming to someone like me and saying, you know what, I want to learn this, or I just want to give this to you so you handle this, because I can't be asked and I heard good things and blah blah blah. But I don't think these are secrets. People are oblivious consciously. They're
Yeah,
it later, whatever. I just want to get it out. Maybe I'll get one client and I really need it this week. Fair enough.
yeah,
Fair enough. And I always say, do whatever you can. Sure. But I don't think there's anything that I know that you can't probably learn on YouTube. The thing is, you can't just go and Google email marketing. You got to go back and learn a lot of the basics. And that might take years for some people, and they don't have that.
yeah, that's right. And as you said, there's a lot of little hacks that I've been learning through working with you. It's really, really been a revelation, because I never thought that I would really be good at email marketing. I really didn't. And I think through working with you, I have, well, you use the word empowered, but I have actually come to understand that, look, this is quite a complex field. It is. But at the same time, there are things that you can learn if you're told, if you're shown the way by somebody who really knows what they're doing. There are things, I'm not a very, very technical person at all, but I have learned a lot, and I've grown a lot in confidence, um, just over the last few weeks.
I'm glad to hear that, first of all.
Yeah, yeah.
And yes, you have to do all of this with a lot of patience.
Mhm.
And I had to develop a lot of patience for the people I work
Yeah,
with. They don't have the nerve for all of this stuff, but I need stuff from them. I need this is not a thing just from a shelf. There you go, pay me, and there it is. Your open rate is amazing, whatever. It doesn't work like that. This is work together, shoulder to shoulder. This is not me in front of the client. This is us together on the same side against
yeah.
the world. You have to have a lot of grace, I think, to do this kind of work, and really mean it. Otherwise, I'm just another freelancer, trying to hustle, and that's not what I'm
Churn and
about.
burner, churn and
I
burner.
want people.
Um,
I want people who, yeah, I want people who work with me to remember me. I don't know why, but I want that. And I want to feel that they got a result that they wouldn't have otherwise if they didn't work with me specifically. So
yeah,
like I said, if I knew that what I'm doing, any other guy can just come and learn it in very quickly and just do it, I would kind of feel a bit useless. And
yeah,
that's not the only thing that I'm doing. I'm involved in a lot of other tech innovations and I have a startup that we just launched our first product, and 3 others are coming in the next 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna plug it in here, but yeah, I'm into it, and I think you gotta be into it. When you go to someone that really knows what they're doing, it's because they're into it most of the times.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are impatient. In fact, I noticed this, and I joke about this with my clients. They all want it yesterday. Well, actually, they want it yesterday, or they want it now. They don't want to wait, and I understand, because that's human nature, right? If we want something, we want it. But we have to be quite counterintuitive, I think, when we're working on something like cold outreach, for example, because anything technical does require patience. It does require an investment of time, and you don't see the results necessarily instantly. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. And, I think it's the mindset. So you touched on a few points here that reminded me of a few situations I've had in the past.
Mm.
There are clients who are, burning a hole in their bank account, and leads are not coming in, and everything's set up, and, and it takes time to do what I do with them, as you know. And but when you do things right, so I'll give you an example. When you do things right, you might even get your first lead on the first day. That could happen. Because once it's the right way, why shouldn't people respond to you, if you're doing it the right way? So people respond. And even though it didn't even convert yet, once people have been trying for so long, and then they come to me. So think about it like that. They come to me, I'm the solution, and they might even know that someone told them, oh my God, this is going to be the best thing for you. They still feel like they're in the bad place, even though they're just they're in the good place. I got to share something. My therapist told me this once, and it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. That imagining that you are in your office, it's Friday, 5 o'clock, boss is driving you mad, all that stuff, you got a ton of stuff to do. Worst day ever, you're behind, you're going to leave late today. But then as you go over things on your desk, you glance over, you see those 2 tickets that you and your missus have for the weekend. And then you remember you're going to Spain for the weekend. So you're dealing with the rest of the crap that day, and you finish everything, but you're feeling good because your trajectory is, you're thinking about that weekend. And then you go to that weekend and you're on the beach, heaven, sun is burning, roasting your skin. I love that. And, you got a drink in your hand, and, you had an amazing romantic weekend, and you just had an amazing meal, and you're just chilling. You got nothing to think about in life. And as the sky are so clear and blue, you see an airplane. And that airplane reminds you that tomorrow early, you got a flight back to rainy London. And suddenly you start to feel crap. Even though you are in paradise, you are at the present moment in paradise, you feel crap. So why am I telling you this? So a lot of people, they come to me and still things are bad, and their deliverability is bad, and is flagged, and their IP is, on a blacklist and whatever. But I start fixing things. And once they see that someone is doing the right thing, they start to feel great. They start to feel amazing.
Yeah.
And that for me is worth everything, because I've been with people who were running out of money, and based on just looking at the beginning, the glimpse of the results we started to get, they went on and took a credit card. These are people that I said to them, listen, do not use your last money on me. I don't need that kind of pressure, because, by the way, not every time you do it, it will work, right? You might do everything right, and maybe your product sucks to people. Yeah. Maybe your pitch sucks. Maybe it's just there's no interest in the proposition. Who knows? And maybe we can't find an audience for you. If you tell me I need to market something to individuals or net worth 10 million, It's not that kind of data. You can go to Zoom Info, you know exactly what you're going to get. Nothing. Lots of made up data. But you know, so it's very important to know you're on the right track. Sometimes it can be, you know, that the tip of the scale for a business, and all you really need to do is to decide that you're going to ride this through. That's all you got to do. That's how, when Google or Microsoft, those bastards, change the rules in the servers every 3 months, and I get you know, discombobulated from this sort of stuff. It really messes me up, and I'm like, oh my god, you know, all my knowledge is worth nothing now to my clients. What about my big reputation and my name? But then I realized these people are better off still with me. Problems are going to happen. That's a rule of life. So you might as well have someone that knows how to deal with them.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I'll still have my senses, and I know already what to check really quickly and how to calibrate all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's very, very important, because without somebody like you by your side, or somebody who is in that field all the time, you're not going to know that Google's updated their servers. You know, you're not going to know what the changes are. So that is really an important reason to actually have an expert in your corner, because they will know. And then if you don't know, and you're just carrying on oblivious to all of that, then it's whatever you were doing is not going to have the same result, is it? And you won't know why. That's the thing.
Absolutely. You gotta keep your hand on the pulse, as they say. Yeah.
Okay, yes, exactly. Well, listen, Niro, it has been such a pleasure. As I said, I've been loving working with you. So this has been, for me, a most amazing interview, and I really, really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for joining myself and my guests tonight. And all of the knowledge and wisdom that you shared was absolutely fantastic.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me, and I hope I answered the questions the right way for you.
And do check out Niro on YouTube. You will see the incredible passion that he puts into his music, which is really amazing as well. Okay.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.